Thanks, Anne-Marie. Divorce is hard. We know that it's hard on children at any age. So how can parents help ease the worries and fears as the family dynamic shifts and changes? Michelle Jacob is an emotional wellness expert and the author of the story of Fire, Ice, and Firice. She wrote the book to help support her son after going through her own divorce. Michelle joins us today to talk more about it. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
Oh, the
Lindsey.
story was so beautifully put together. I really enjoyed reading it. What was it about your own divorce experience that made you want to write something?
So my son, Lindsey, at the time was 9 years old, and I had seen that all of the studies showed children between the ages of 7 to 12 were the most affected by divorce. And I worked in the industry as well, so I was doing the inner child work with adults who, time and time again, I saw when they were children and their parents separated, they carried this deep guilt that they were to be blamed for their parents' divorce. So working in the industry, having this knowledge that my son was in an egocentric phase, he was going to personalize it, he was going to blame himself. I was like, I need to do something about it. As a mom, it shattered my heart because I was part of the decision making that led to, yeah, you know what, let's get that divorce because it's less toxic. But how do I protect my son from this? And that question is what led to this book where I brought the science in, I brought my work in inner child into it, and that's how it was created.
And not only that, I love that you brought this. Okay, look at what she brought. So this is the first edition, essentially.
This is the first edition. Literally, I wrote it for my son. This is how it was. And thanks to Roxy Reed, it became the illustrator.
It's a beautiful job. Yeah.
But this is how it all started. It was this little book that I read to my son every night so he wouldn't personalize it. And that's what the story is about, too.
Tell me about the story.
So the story is about Fire, who comes from the land of volcanoes, and she has a special gift. She glows so bright, she can light up the darkest of places. And then she meets Ice, and Ice has a super power too, and the power is he's strong. And now their love was so powerful, it creates a third element, Firice.
Yes.
Now what happens over time is ice or fire's glow is so bright, it starts melting ice.
Yeah.
And ice's melted water starts putting out fire's glow. So they both realize if they stayed in the same house for a long period of time, it's going to put each other out. And they had to go share this information with their son, who, by the way, was unaffected because he had both their powers.
Yeah.
So
I loved that line, too.
Yeah.
He was unaffected by what was going on with them because he had the best of them.
Yes, he did have the best of them. But what he saw was both of them were shrinking because Ice thought, if fire didn't glow, I wouldn't melt. And Fire thought, why is Ice melting? Because he's putting me out now.
Right.
So, but through the book, I was able to explain to my son, hey, this is not your fault. Fire and Ice couldn't live in the same house. So in the book, I capture his feelings as well, because children between, like I mentioned, children between the ages of 7 to 12 are taking it personally. They're thinking it's their fault, right? So the character Firice in the book has the fears, and we go over the fears that children have. And in the end, it was also what I failed to mention earlier was when I wrote this book, it was also for me, because as a parent who's going through divorce, there are times when you're really stressed out.
Yeah.
And you need a resource. So when I wrote those sentences that I want to read to my son, it was from a place of calmness when I had just practiced mindfulness and I had written it down. So I could just take this book and read it to him every night.
And what was his reaction when you were reading it to him?
You know, I saw initially he was having those fears. Oh, is it my fault? If I behaved better, would my parents stay together? But the more and more I read this book to him, he started to realize this has nothing to do with me. My parents are Fire and Ice. So he put two and two together really fast. He was like, oh, you're Fire Mom and Dad's Ice?
He got it.
Yeah, he got it.
What message do you have for parents to help if they're in this situation right now, to really help them through with their children?
So with parents, what I say is, see it as an opportunity. So when we were going through the divorce, I saw it as an opportunity to spend one-on-one time with my son. So we had mom and son adventures every Saturday. We went out. And when you're having this one-on-one time, this is a time of bonding because they feel safe. You want to create that emotional safety. So they start feeling safe. They open up to you and they come to you. So be that person, that emotional safe person for them so they can come to you. And one-on-one fun times with them, so important. But parents need to remember a healed parent creates a healed child.
Oh, what a great note to end on, Michelle. Beautiful book. Thanks for sharing today.
Thank you so much.
I want to let our viewers know again, the story of Fire, Ice, and Firice is out now.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.